Hello, everyone. Sorry, I am late. Okay. What? I'm not late. It's 10:01. I'm here. Okay. Here's what happened. I have to apologize. If you were expecting this stream to start at 2:00 this afternoon, or whatever time that is for you, I was initially planning to do it this afternoon or this evening if you're in the UK or Europe, but I woke up ridiculously early this morning. And when I wake up, morning is my best time. The morning is not long enough for me because I want to be able to do everything in the morning because that is when I feel my best and when I am most alert. But since I woke up so early this morning, I said, I'm not going to be able to do that live stream at 2:00 because I'm going to need a nap at 2:00. Hello, Sherry. Thank you for joining. So I decided, no, I'm going to change the time. So I rushed out here right away this morning and changed the time to 10 o'clock. But I had another video about this same cruise that I'm going to talk about today, our cruise on Navigator of the Seas. I had one video that I needed to film at home. The rest of the videos are coming. So a little housekeeping. All of the vlogs from our Navigator of the Seas cruise are coming in a couple of weeks. I have had to go down to, basically, you'll have seen about one main video, long form video a week, and then I might also have a short a week, like I did this last week. I had a video on Sunday, and then I had a short. And if you're not paying attention to my community tab, I highlight a video every week, usually on Monday, that needs a little bit more attention, a little bit more love, some more views. And then I also put a poll up every Friday. So if you haven't noticed that, if you ever get if you subscribe to my channel and you have the notification bell on and you get a little notification in your subscriptions for my channel and you say, wait, there's no new video, check those other things. Check if there's a short, check if there's a new live stream because those are now in separate tabs, or check if there's something in my community posts on the community tab because that's probably where it is. If you get that dot, something new is there, but you just might have to go through the tabs to find out what it is. So Navigator of the Seas on Royal Caribbean, Sherry, is the cruise that we just took. And the picture behind me today was taken from that cruise. I took this from our balcony. Yeah, I think I took this from our balcony. There we go. And you can see the tender boats there. This is Catalina Island, which is actually California, but this was one of our port stops on the cruise. I can always tell those very distinctive California type foldy mountains in the background, just like in LA. And I took this from our balcony while we were anchored at Catalina Island. This is a tender port. As you can see, that's the town of Avalon there. And this is that building there is known as the casino, but it's a theater. It's not a casino. It's never been a casino. A number of people walked from the ship to that building like we did and were disappointed to find out that it was not a casino. Because if you don't know, cruise ship casinos are closed when cruise ships are in port. You cannot go in the casino when the cruise ship is in port, and you cannot go in any of the shops. The shops and the casino on all cruise ships are closed when the cruise ship is in port, and that it doesn't matter if it's docked or anchored like this one was. So that is a theater, and it is a beautiful historic theater. We didn't take the time to do the tour, but there were guided tours that you could do of Il Casino. It was actually Italian for like gathering place is what that word means. But this, going the wrong way, that is the town of Avalon on Catalina Island. And there are only, from what I gathered, only 2 towns on Catalina Island. And the other one was, what was it? Do you remember the name of the other town? I say it in the vlog, and the vlogs, like I said, are coming. So coming up tomorrow's video is going to be the beginning of our trip. Well, actually, technically, this past Sunday's video was the beginning of our trip. That was the hotel that Ben and I stayed at Mall of America the night before we left. Coming up tomorrow's video is the first video in the series from this trip, from this cruise. and it's our travel day flying out to Los Angeles, which was very interesting. Some very interesting, unusual things happened on that flight experience flying from Minneapolis to Los Angeles. So hopefully you will check that video out tomorrow. And then there's going to be another hotel room video from the hotel we stayed at before the cruise. And then the cruise logs will be coming after that. So all the cruise logs, I haven't even edited them yet or anything, will be coming up soon from Navigator of the Seas. But I've decided that what I thought would be nice to do is whenever we come back from a cruise, and I've seen like Emma Cruises does this, Gary does this. Gary's live will be up. He'll be doing a live, I think, at 11 today, which I usually watch. When they come back from a cruise, they like to do a live stream or a live Q&A to give their viewers an opportunity to ask questions about the cruise and what's going on like that. Oh, yeah, Bob messaged me on Gary's private Facebook, the members only Facebook group about the casino. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check out his video yet. Did he do like the tour and everything and film the inside? I think that's what he said, but I haven't had a chance to check it out. When he told me that, we were like leaving in like a day, and so I didn't have time to watch it before we went. But just the walk out there to that building was really pretty. It's not very far. We didn't have much trouble walking. And then I did, the reason I was late coming to this live stream is because I just filmed a video, which I've decided I'm going to do after every cruise. In addition to the vlogs, which my vlogs are always packed with travel tips. If people aren't aware of that I've decided to make that my new kind of tagline for my channel, travel vlogs packed with travel tips. That's my new thing because I thought that was kind of cute because packed, like you're going on a trip, you know, you have to pack. So, oh, sorry. Sherry said, yes, he did. Let me put up Sherry's other comment here. She said, Bob Metta from Innocence Abroad has a good video explaining, that's Bob and Holly, if you know who they are, the casino on Catalina Island. So thank you for that, Sherry. Yeah, and he did tell me that. Thank you. And Sherry says, I like your shorts and travel tips. Thank you. I have done a whole series of shorts where I did a Tuesday travel tips. I've kind of run out of them now, but the last one was probably the last one for a while. If I think of more, I will make more. But also I have noticed that my shorts that I make on location do much better than the shorts I make at home. So I will continue to make shorts on location as we travel. But anyway, going back to the video I made right before I came here for the live and why I was a little late is because I've decided to make, and you may have seen this one from when we went on our last cruise on Disney Wonder in the fall. I have making a 3 best and 3 worst things. So we're going to try to narrow it down to the 3 best and 3 worst things about each cruise. And I did one for Disney Wonder, which Ben and I took in the fall. And now I just finished filming. I stole my tripod right here because I just finished filming it. And I had to run out here to get on this live stream because that took a lot longer than I was expecting because some weird, quirky things happened on our cruise on Navigator of the Seas that I had to talk about. And so, like for the best things, I was able to just list, this was a best thing, and this was a best thing, and this was a best thing. But for the worst things, they all involved some kind of story. I had to explain something. So it took me a lot longer to film that video. So that's why I was rushing over here to do this live stream. Okay. William asks, did you purchase a soda package on Navigator? No, we did not. And we were totally fine. And I'm glad you asked that, William, because on Harmony of the Seas, which we took last May, June, we did purchase the soda package. And I have 2 things to say about that. One is the people who sold it to us, the crew that was like in the promenade, the Royal Promenade when we boarded the ship, they did not explain the pricing to us really at all. And when I got the statement at the end of the cruise, I was fairly horrified at how expensive that is. The soda package for 3 people for a 7-night cruise was like hundreds of dollars. I mean, it was ridiculous. And so I was like, I'm not getting that again. The other thing I want to say about it is we really didn't use it at all because they give you those big refillable what are those cup things, you know, we left them on the ship because we realized we're never going to use these again. And we're never going to, we couldn't really fit them in our suitcases, and we knew they wouldn't fit in our cupboards at home. So we left them. And I actually really do. I would really like to see Royal Caribbean have some kind of recycling program for those refillable drink containers for the soda package, because I bet you a lot of them are getting thrown away and a lot of them are never used again. I don't think that the soda package was worth it. I only saw 2 of the Coke Freestyle machines, one outside Sorrento's Pizza on the Royal Promenade, and one in the Windjammer in the buffet. And that was true on both Harmony and on Navigator. That was the only place I saw that you could fill up your refillable soda things. I think they'll fill them up for you at the bar. Maybe. Does anybody know? They might fill them up for you if you ask at a bar, but I'm not sure about that. And so it just really wasn't very convenient. The other thing that the Royal Caribbean soda package does give you, though, is then you can get soda at dinner. So you have to show them. They give you a little sticker that they put on your SeaPass card. Now, I think once or twice, Ben, did I order a Coke at dinner on Navigator? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I ordered a Coke, I think, once or twice at dinner on Navigator, and I just paid for it. And so then they just bring me a receipt and I just sign it and they bill it to the room. But it's a totally reasonable amount for one soda. And that's all I needed. The rest of the time, we were completely fine with what you still get quite a lot included. Water, lemonade, fruit punch, iced tea, coffee and stuff, coffee, tea in the main dining room. They always offered us tea at breakfast. They always offered us coffee with dessert. You could get, in the buffet, they have just whole trays of water, lemonade, iced tea, fruit punch. And so we were that you could just take. And so we were completely fine with all of that stuff that's included. So we did not find the soda package to be necessary. And I do not plan on ever buying it on Royal Caribbean again. Okay, Cindy asks, has inflation and high cost of living had any effect on your travel plans for 2023? Yes and no. Okay, inflation and the high cost of living has not actually affected me, Cindy. My cost of living has not changed. No, not really. I mean, other than like a few things here and there, like maybe grocery, I don't buy very much for groceries. It's just me and Ben. And so my grocery bill is pretty limited. Like I placed a grocery order the other day and it was like $30. We don't.
Basically candy.
Yeah, we don't eat that much. And so, and also, gas I noticed has gone up a little bit again lately because I've had to drive back and forth to take Megan to college and things. But my rent, I just signed another lease for another year here and it went up $25. But that my mom explained to me because she's rented for many years. She said that's a normal like 3% increase that you should expect every year. So that wasn't a big deal. And then I haven't really noticed that our energy price or anything has really, it hasn't. So the cost of living hasn't really hit me very much. What has hit me and has definitely affected my ability to travel as much in 2023 is the fact that I've run out of money. Okay. All of our traveling that we did in 2022 was from the sale of our house. We sold our house at a very nice profit in May of 2022. And a certain portion of that was set aside for Megan for college, I will tell you that college has turned out to be much more expensive than I was expecting for 2 reasons. One, the financial aid guy at Megan's school, he didn't tell us about the fact that Megan was going to have a mandatory, it's like $2,000-$3,000 a year out of state student health insurance plan, because her health insurance that we have does not cover her in the state that she goes to school in. So that added a big chunk. And they also there just was a lot of extra things that I didn't plan on with her for college, and especially like the driving back and forth. And she needed a lot of things for her her dorm and stuff like that. So yeah, school has turned out to be more expensive, and the money I set aside for that did not go as far as I was hoping. So we're very conscious of that, let me say, in making our travel plans. The other thing that is that the money that we had from the house, you saw last year in 2022, we did a ton of traveling. And a lot of that was because we had the money from the house, but also because Megan was about to leave for college. I wanted to have these certain travel experiences with her before she left. And so we did a lot of traveling in 2022. This is my plan going forward. I would like to do at least 4 trips a year, 1 each season. And if I do 7 daily vlogs, 1 for each day, and I always end up having more than that for content, that's 49 videos a year. That's at least, that's pretty close to 1 a week. And I shouldn't have any trouble. Okay. So if I do that, that makes me happy. I think that's a reasonable amount for us. That gives Ben motivation with school. Like, we always have a trip looking forward to at the end of each of his school quarters. It gives Megan nice breaks to look forward to for her school breaks. And it's good for my mental health knowing we always have, on the next trip looking forward to. And it evens out the amount of time between trips for making content for the channel. So that's kind of what I have planned going forward. It is getting tight. I mean, to be able to pay stuff off in time, cruises especially, because nowadays they want you to pay like 90 days, 120 days even in advance to pay those off. So that can be a little tricky. But we do have 4 trips booked. We've already taken one. This Navigator of the Seas cruise was our first trip of the year. We have another one coming up in, our next cruise is in 33 days. So that's coming up. And then we have a little bit of a longer stretch. And then we have one booked in August and one in October. So those are all coming up. But I have all my videos planned out for the entire year and going into 2024. So lots of content coming. So make sure you're subscribed so you have all that to look forward to. Okay. Yes, airfares are ridiculous right now. I did get decent airfare for our flights out to Los Angeles for our Navigator of the Seas cruise, but oh my goodness, don't get me started on getting our airfare to New Orleans. You're not going to believe what I ended up doing. I looked at every possible option because I was starting to panic because, like I said, it's only like a month away. I've been looking for airfare for New Orleans from Minneapolis for months. There is only one nonstop flight a day between Minneapolis and New Orleans. I looked at the train. I looked at driving, which I really didn't want to do. It was driving me crazy. Every time I looked, it went up. It was like $1,700 a person to fly to New Orleans. I can drive there in 19 hours. I mean, I was just like, this is ridiculous. I've never paid that much for domestic airfare. I can't believe how much domestic airfare is right now. You're right. It's totally ridiculous. I haven't looked at Europe, Sherry. What's it like for Europe? I don't even want to know. Although I will tell you that I found like 8-10 cities in Europe that I could fly to for cheaper from Minneapolis, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, London. I just looked out of curiosity, cheaper than I could fly to New Orleans for the same week at the end of March. So I think that I read an article that demand is very high. And so the airlines can charge us whatever they want to right now, and they're going to. And also, they are definitely taking advantage of the fact that that's spring break time. Because I got our flights to Los Angeles for, I don't know, $360, $400 each. And then I got flights already. I have the plane tickets already for Ben and I's cruise out of New York City in October, and I got those like for $300. So it's definitely a time of year thing. But this like $1,400, $1,500 to go to New Orleans is ridiculous. So I'll tell you what we ended up doing because it's kind of funny. Because I was really thinking we're going to have to drive, and I really didn't want to drive. You guys know with my ankle, driving is painful. Now, it's not as bad on the highway because I can put the cruise on. But still, that's a long way, and I didn't want to drive that far. And we were on a really tight window because Megan has to get back for school. And now, to add to the Megan has to get back for school, Megan was just cast in her first play If you've been following along with my channel for many years, you know that Megan and I were both performers and we're in a lot of plays. I can't do theater anymore because of my ankle, but Megan was in, what was she in, 35 some productions in our nearby community theater, and she's been in high school plays and everything. She had a very fun time this last week auditioning for her first play at college, and she got a part. And so she's starting rehearsals Monday. And the play is not until after spring break. So she's got our next cruise is going to be in the middle of her rehearsals for this play. So then we've got that added thing of not only does she have to be back to school for class, she's got to be back to school for rehearsals too. So, but anyway, yeah, we're going to fly to Memphis. Okay, we're flying to Memphis and we're going to Graceland. So if you guys are into Elvis and you want to see Graceland, I'm going to be making a video about Graceland because we're flying to Memphis and we're going to Graceland. And then I am renting a car and driving to New Orleans. That was the cheapest option I could find. Okay, this is what we're doing. Like I said, I was exploring every possibility. So we are flying to Memphis. We are driving to New Orleans, but then I'm turning in the car and we're flying back from New Orleans. So that ended up being about $600 each for that little trip. It would have only been like $450 round trip from Memphis, which is what I did originally. But then I thought about it and I thought, I don't want to have to drive back to Memphis from New Orleans after the cruise. And so I looked at it, and when I did the math, the difference when I took away the extra days with the rental car, having to park at the port, and the extra night of hotel I would have to pay for in Memphis going back, it ended up being the same. So I changed our tickets so we're flying back from New Orleans, and then Megan will get back to school quicker too. So, okay. Yeah, Sherry, we used our frequent flyer miles to go to San Diego in October when Ben and I went on Disney Wonder, but now we're out of miles. So we'll have to save up a little bit. Ooh, something. Did you guys see my short this week about how Delta offered us 30,000 miles each, wasn't it? I should have took it. And they gave Megan 15,000 free miles on our flight to Los Angeles. That's coming up in tomorrow's video, why they did that. So stay tuned for that. Okay, good question, William. We did not do any of the water slides, which I was kind of bummed because the water slides on Navigator of the Seas are really cool. They have the biggest variety of water slides on Navigator of the Seas on any Royal Caribbean ship I've seen. And they did something.
The new one.
Yeah, except the new one, except Icon of the Seas. Yeah, good point, Ben. They did something very smart on Navigator of the Seas that they did not do on Mariner of the Seas, which we went on, it's a sister ship, which we went on in 2018. That stupid sky pad. It's one of the most popular videos on my channel because it was new when we went on it. The ship had just come out of refurbishment, and my kids were some of the first people to try the sky pad. What a waste of space that thing is, because only 3-4 people can do it at once. Yep. And it's this whole big thing because they got to harness you up, and then you do the bungee, woo, and the kids said the harness hurt their legs. They don't like doing it with the virtual reality. It made them feel sick, and it's such a huge waste of deck space. And Navigator of the Seas did it right. They didn't put SkyPad on Navigator of the Seas when they refurbished it. They put more water slides. So they have a ton of different water slides on Navigator of the Seas. If your kids or your family likes water slides, I highly recommend Navigator of the Seas. Oh my gosh, they have great water slides on that ship. The reason we did not do them is because it was too cold. It was winter, and I want to warn you, and in the video I just filmed, I talked about this. It's cold when you go on a Pacific coast out of the West Coast in the winter. It was cold on our October cruise too. We didn't go on the water slides on that one either. So be aware of that. If you go out of Los Angeles, San Diego to Mexico in fall, winter, maybe early spring, it's not very warm. Now, people were using them. People were going. Was anybody really going in the pool? Ben,
What?
Did anybody go in the pool or just the hot tubs?
Will the adults on the pool?
Yeah, a couple of people went in the pool. But kids were going on the water slides, but when they came off, they looked like they were freezing. You know, they'd have to run through the freezing cold air, and they looked like they were very cold. And people were in the hot tubs. Okay, we never even put our swimsuits on. We did play mini golf. We played mini golf the day we were docked in Ensenada. Yeah. So we were docked. So there wasn't any wind or breeze or anything. It's right at the bow of the ship, right in the front of the ship at the top. And it was really fun. We like playing mini golf on the Royal Caribbean ships. And there were a lot of other people playing. And yeah, it was fun. It was nice and sunny, but it wasn't hot. So we did play mini golf, and we had fun doing that. Okay. Yes, Memphis we're excited to check it out. So we're looking forward to that. Okay. Yes, so 4 trips a year, that is our goal. I will tell you, when I was a kid, my dad, we traveled just as much, if not more. So a lot of stuff by train, a lot of road trips, but we traveled just as much. Last year, though, we traveled, I figured out, all but 2 months of the year. So 10 months of the year last year. That was exceptional. That was a lot. That was a lot of traveling last year, and we won't be doing that again anytime soon. I mean, my channel would need to explode, and I would need to have many, many, many more views to be making enough money to have us be able to do as much traveling as we did last year. So, but I think 4 is pretty reasonable. Now, keep in mind, it's not every kid that gets to go. You have not seen my son Andrew on a trip with us in the history of my channel, which is 5 years old this year. I've been doing this channel for 5 years, and Andrew has never been on a trip with us in that time, which really makes me sad. The last trip that my son Andrew went on with us was Disney Wonder in 2017. Andrew has been away at college. Andrew was an RA, a resident assistant in college in the dorms for 3 of the 4 years he was in college, and now he's in law school, and he just can't go with us. So I really do want to get Andrew to be able to go with us on a trip. That's very important to me, but it never is working out. We were all supposed to go to Alaska this summer, and the trip, no. Now I think about that, and I'm bummed about that too. It's not as important to Andrew to go with us as it is for us that Andrew goes with us. You know, he's not bothered, but we wish he could go with us. So that's kind of a bummer. And then, like, as you saw, Megan did not go with us on our cruise in October. That was just Ben and I. So, and the same thing's going to happen this year. Ben and I are going to go on a cruise, and Megan isn't going to be able to go with us. So it's not all of my kids. So keep that in mind. It's different kids, but yeah. Oh gosh, Cindy, I hate to hear that. You're like my mom. She keeps saying she's going to take a vacation. She does have a cruise booked. We'll see if she actually does it, but she doesn't go anywhere. So, yeah, I feel so bad for people who, especially people who want to travel and, like, you know, money or whatever or something, or life circumstances keep them from being able to travel. I feel so bad about that. If you haven't seen it, Cindy, go back and watch my video I made right at the beginning of the year called 8 Tips for How You Can Travel More. Because I have some really practical tips in there that how people who think they can't travel can maybe travel more than they are. So check that out. Okay. Anybody, no other questions right at the moment. So let me just tell you a little bit. I'll start talking about the Cruise and Navigator this season. If you think of a question, let me know and put it in the chat. Thank you also to all of you, not only who are joining me right now. I really appreciate all of you being here. It's so nice when we have good participation in the live stream. But if you're watching this live stream later, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. And if you have any questions that I didn't answer in this live stream, please leave them in the comments if you're watching this after the live stream is over. And I do always answer everybody's questions in the comments. So if you're not watching this when it's live, just want to make sure you know about that. Good question, William. It was horrible. This was terrible. Okay, but I found out it was not exclusive to Navigator. When we went, now this was my 3rd cruise on a Royal Caribbean Voyager class ship. Voyager class ships are Voyager, Adventure, Explorer, Navigator, Mariner. I feel like I'm forgetting one. I don't know, those, okay? They all have like a seagoing, end in an ER-ish type name. Okay, I've been on Explorer of the Seas on my honeymoon in 2002. I was on Mariner of the Seas with the same two kids with Megan and Ben in 2018, and we were on this one, Navigator of the Seas, now this year. Okay, the ships are very similar. Okay, in layout and decor. I would almost go to so far as to say they're probably identical. Okay, I like the layout of the ships. I like the ships. They do have a full way that you can walk all the way around the promenade. The one disadvantage of this class of ships, though, is that you do have to go up and down a big set of stairs to get all the way around, because you have to go upstairs to get to the helicopter pad in the bow. But if you don't want to do that, like you have trouble with stairs like I do, you can just cut through in the front across through the doors. Okay. On Mariner of the Seas, our third bed placement was, we had an aft-facing balcony stateroom on that ship, which was unusually large. It was very spacious, and the balcony was very large. If you don't know what I'm talking about, my Mariner of the Seas playlist is on my YouTube channel homepage right now. I have 3 cruises playlists on there right now that you can go back and check that out. I have a nice tour of our room on that ship on there. Okay. That room had just like almost all, except for Disney, staterooms do, had a double bed, if you will, king, queen bed that splits into twins, which is what we always do when I'm traveling with my kids, because we each want our own bed. Okay. And it had a sofa, a big sofa that we really enjoyed on the day we boarded the ship and never got to use again, because that sofa, this is on Mariner of the Seas, okay? And I'm coming to William's question because this is important. That sofa converted, not in the kind that goes out, in front of the sofa like you have in your house. It converted, like it flipped into a double sofa bed. That there was enough room there for 2 people to sleep on that sofa bed. Ben slept on the sofa bed, and Megan and I each had one of the twin beds on Mariner every night, and we were perfectly comfortable. Our gripe on that one was our stateroom attendant never turned Ben's bed back into a sofa. They didn't do it on Harmony either. I just talked about this in the video I just filmed, so I'll save that story for right now. But on this cruise, on Navigator of the Seas, we were expecting the same thing. And when we walked into, now we were in a regular balcony stateroom on the side of the ship. We were on the port side of the ship, about in the middle, okay, about midship on deck 7. And we walked into the room and saw the bed and a sofa and the balcony, and figured it was going to be the same thing, that this sofa was going to turn into a bed. But then our stateroom attendant came in and told us, oh no, that's not a bed. And he's right. It was just a sofa. It didn't turn into anything. But the, Cindy, that is the cutest question. I will come to that in a second. Okay. But he said, no, it's a berth that comes down. Okay. That didn't surprise us. So what I've kind of concluded now, when I came home, I studied the deck plans again. Look at your deck plans very carefully when you're choosing your stateroom, your cabin on the ship, because on these Voyager class ships, what it seems to be is that there are staterooms that are for up to 3 people, which is what we had, and up to 4 people, which we found out from talking to another family that we kind of got to be friends with on the ship, who had 2 kids with them, that they had. So they had the exact same type of bed configuration in their room with the 2-person sofa bed that we'd had on Mariner. So it just must have been that room that I had chosen, because I chose it for the fact that it was an aft-facing stateroom on Mariner, had that double sofa bed. But because we were in one of the rooms that was up to 3 people, it only had the pull-down berth. Now, the pull-down berth or bunk, the problem was it was the placement. We really think they should have put it over the sofa or at the foot of the beds on the other side of the room, or even like directly over one of the twin beds. So it was like bunk beds, but they didn't. It was, if you guys didn't see the picture, go on my Instagram and look at it. It's horrible. It was across our faces this way. And the way I explained it to the kids to explain the claustrophobia I was experiencing with this bed setup was, it was like being inside an MRI machine. If you've had an MRI on your head or your neck, you know what I'm talking about. It was right here. It's like this. You couldn't sit up in the lower beds to like read at night, and we all hit our heads. And also the ladder to get up to the upper bunk blocked my nightstand, so I couldn't reach the stuff on my nightstand. So my nightstand was useless. It was terrible. That bed configuration was terrible, and I will be being very careful in the future when I choose I'll even call if I have to and ask, can you please tell me exactly what the bed configuration is for this room? Because I don't want that to happen again, because we did not sleep well on the cruise. I ended up flipping around and sleeping the other way. I moved all my covers and everything, and I slept with my head at the foot of the bed so my head wouldn't be under there. Yeah, it was terrible. Okay. Cindy says, he wants to know if you can bring your fishing pole and go fishing off the side of the ship. No, you cannot. Number one, it's too big. Number two, you are moving way too fast. Okay. No, and you can't do it when you're docked either. That's not legal. It's a cruise ship. It's meant for passenger transport only. However, if you are interested in fishing, depending on the location of your cruise, it's probably almost everywhere, you'll always see fishing excursions on cruise port excursions that you can take. I know that they have them in Alaska. I'm sure they have them in Florida. If you want the opportunity to go fishing, there's places that you can go fishing when you're in a port of call. But no, you cannot. I think it would also be dangerous, just with the propellers and everything. Yeah, you can't. It's too big. You couldn't. I don't think you realize how tall a cruise ship is. You can't cruise off or you can't fish off a ship that big. You need to be in a more reasonably sized fishing vessel. So, but you would have opportunities to go fishing when you're on a cruise if you find the right shore excursion. So, or before or after your cruise in the place that you cruise from. That would be another option. So, okay. Did I miss any questions? I don't think so. Okay, so one thing that I thought was kind of interesting that a lot of you might find interesting that I don't know if I wasn't really expecting it or I didn't really think about it, was the Port of Los Angeles is the largest container shipping port in North America. It's not the prettiest port to cruise out of. Okay, it's not like the landscape you see behind me here. It's not like cruising. San Diego is very pretty. Miami is very pretty to cruise out of. It's a container port. You're surrounded by shipping containers and huge cargo ships and big cranes. It was kind of freaky, but it was very interesting. We really enjoyed. We sat out on the balcony for a long time around sail away and stayed out there for sail away, because watching those shipping container operations was really cool. So if you have a kid that's into stuff like that, or even if you're an adult and you're into stuff like that and you like seeing how the whole shipping port works, that was very interesting. But it was not your typical cruise port that you think of, that it's all pretty and everything. And yeah, it wasn't like that at all. I mean, it was a working shipping container port, big shipping port. We could also see a whole bunch of ships out at sea waiting to come into the Port of Los Angeles or the Port of Long Beach. They're right next to each other, to be unloaded or to load back up with more cargo. So that was really interesting. Okay, great. Sherry says, part of her family went on a fishing excursion in Nassau. So that's in the Bahamas, while on a Disney cruise. Yeah, I know I've seen fishing excursions as an option on many cruises that I've been on. So yeah, you can definitely go fishing if you're on a cruise. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Let's see. What else can I tell you about our cruise? We had a whole fiasco with our dining experience, which that's a long story, which I just told in the video that I just filmed right before I came to do this live stream. So stay tuned for that, because that was quite a thing. I'll give you a teaser. On the second night of the cruise, after things had kind of settled down, our one dining room manager, head waiter guy that we were talking to, explained to me, he said, "I'm so sorry about last night." He said, "It was really a mess." He said, I think they were having like an issue with like new crew or turnover or something on the first night of the cruise. He said it was so bad that there was almost a fist fight in the dining room because some passengers got really upset with the thing that happened with the whole seating situation. Ooh, good question, Sherry. Are we flying to New Orleans during Jazz Festival, which is in March? I don't know. I'm going to look now that you said that. My dad kept saying, are you going at Mardi Gras? No, Dad. Mardi Gras is Tuesday. So it's this coming Tuesday. That's if you're not Catholic, you may not. Mardi Gras is Fat Tuesday when they party in New Orleans and other places. Quick, eat all your food before Ash Wednesday, which is the next day, which is then a period of repentance and solemn, humility for Lent until Easter. So we're not going during Mardi Gras, but I don't know about the Jazz Festival. That's a good question, Sherry. I will have to check that out. It is the very end of March, and the cruise doesn't come back until April. So I'm not sure, but I'll have to check out those dates because that's a really good thought. Okay. Let's see. What else can I tell you? We had a great time on this cruise. I was going to say that I went into this cruise with very low expectations. I really did. I really wasn't expecting much of it. We did not have a great time on our cruise on Mariner of the Seas 5 years ago. And so we just, the kids were kind of bored. We didn't think there were that many activities to do and stuff like that. And so I didn't have much expectations, but I have to really give props to the cruise director on Navigator of the Seas and the entertainment staff on Navigator of the Seas. They were absolutely fantastic. And they had such a wide variety of activities, games, shows, contests, everything on Navigator of the Seas. I had so much fun. We were never bored. I had a great time. And here's something very important I want to mention, which I do mention in an upcoming video, but there was actually more for us to do on Navigator of the Seas than there was on Harmony of the Seas. Now you're probably like, what? This is what I mean though. I made a video about this, which got quite a bit of negative feedback too. People, I'm sure, that are loyal to Royal that didn't like that I said this, but the crew agrees with me. Okay. When we were dining on our last night of our cruise on Navigator of the Seas, our waiter, who was a woman, I'd never had the main waiter, not the assistant waiter, the main waiter, she was a woman. And she asked us, I told her, this is my favorite Royal Caribbean cruise I've been on so far. And it was. This cruise on Navigator of the Seas was my favorite Royal Caribbean cruise. Mine. I don't know that the kids would agree with me, but I had the most fun on this that I've ever had on any Royal Caribbean cruise. And she said, really? And she said, have you been on the big ships? And I'm sure she means like the Oasis class, although the Freedom class and the Quantum class are technically bigger too. But I said, yes, we have. And we didn't really like it. I said, it was too many people. And she laughed. And she said, and she kind of nodded. She's like, you're right. It's too many people. I totally feel very strongly, and I've talked about this, the cruise lines are making those big, massive, mega, huge ships for money. It's because of money. That's the reason they're doing it. It's not because they think it's a better ship or it's so wonderful. It's because they can put more people on the ship. And the more people that are on the ship, the more people are available to spend money on the ship and the more money they can make. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a better cruise experience, because I'm telling you right now, it's not. I much prefer a smaller ship. When we wanted to go to a game, an activity, a show, an event, anything on Navigator of the Seas, we just walked right in. We just walked right in. We always got a seat. It didn't matter if you got there early. The only things you needed reservations for Navigator of the Seas was to play laser tag, which we did. We played laser tag, had fun doing that. But we did also see that they were accepting walk-ups for laser tag. So you could still walk up. And so I think everybody who wanted to play laser tag on Navigator could do it. And you had to have a reservation and it cost $20 per person to do the escape room, which we also did. It's called Observatorium on the Navigator of the Seas. And we did the escape room with several other people in small groups. There were 11 people of us total, and we did it. We escaped. We solved all the puzzles with almost 11 minutes to spare. We were a very smart group. It was really good. So I like the smaller ships for that reason too. I didn't list this in my video that I made recently about why I like smaller ships better than bigger ships, but I'm going to add this as a really big reason, because you can do everything that you want to do. When you go on the big ships, you can't always do everything that you want to do because the venue is full. There's too many people. They can't all fit. You need a reservation and you couldn't get a reservation, or the line is too long and you don't have enough time. You know, the big ships have so many people on them that you can't do everything you want to do because you can't get into the things you want to do. But on the Voyager class ships like Navigator of the Seas you can easily do everything you want to do and go to everything you want to go to. It's not a problem. We didn't have a problem. And that makes it very enjoyable because you're not like, okay, we'll go and see if we can get in, because you don't have to worry about that. You can always get in. You can always play. You can always participate. It was no problem for anything we wanted to do. William asked, I did mention this at the beginning of the live stream, the videos for Navigator. Technically, I have started that playlist because this past Sunday's video was our hotel stay before we flew to Los Angeles. And tomorrow's video is our travel day to Los Angeles. And then there will be one more hotel tour for the hotel we stayed in the night before the cruise in Los Angeles. And then there will be the daily vlogs from Navigator. So they're coming up pretty quick. But, and I have had some shorts up already from the cruise. But the main videos are coming here in so 2 more videos and then they'll start. Okay. Heidi asks, where do I start to find the right cruise for a first cruise? Myself and 20-year-old and 10-year-old. Okay, Heidi, I'm right there with you. I have a big span between my kids. My kids are 14, 18, and 26. So that's how old my kids are. So I have a big span like you do. And I'm also a single mom. I'm assuming you're a single mom, or at least traveling on your own with your kids. So I will tell you, it really depends on your kids' interests, okay? Just because, and I've talked about this in previous videos, but just because they say a cruise is family friendly, yes, it probably is a family friendly cruise, but you can actually take kids on any cruise line unless it is specifically reserved for adults only. So the only ones you wouldn't be able to go to, and this would only be because of your 10-year-old daughter, are Virgin Voyages, which I would not recommend for you. And out of the United States, that's it. You can go on any other cruise line you want to. Every cruise line has kids programming and stuff for kids to do, even if it doesn't seem like it's marketed to kids. Now, if your kids are active and they're, into physical stuff and they're into, Royal Caribbean is terrific. I would highly recommend Royal Caribbean for you. I would recommend this cruise that we just took. Navigator of the Seas was fantastic. Otherwise, I would say try one of the Freedom class ships, because the Freedom class ships have all the stuff that the Voyager class ships have, but they're a little bigger, but they're a little older, so they're not as expensive as the Oasis or the Quantum class ships. I'm not going to recommend Norwegian to you right now because Norwegian is having a lot of issues. And there's a lot of complaints about Norwegian. I will also tell you that Norwegian also nickel and dimes you to death. All the fun things that your kids are going to want to do, you're going to have to pay extra for. I would also, if you guys are Disney fans, I would recommend Disney. My adult kids love Disney Cruise Line. I, as an adult, love Disney Cruise Line just as much as my kids do when they were little. I have taken everything from a 5-month-old up to myself at age 50 on Disney Cruise Line, and we've loved it at every age. Disney is fantastic. I highly recommend Disney Cruise Line. If you guys are Disney fans, or Star Wars or Marvel, and Disney does have an 18 to 20 set of activities for people in that age where they're adults, but they're not old enough to drink yet. They have stuff for them on Disney. Disney is expensive. I will tell you how to get cheaper on Disney. My two biggest things are book the cruise as soon as Disney releases the cruise for sale for booking. Do it right away. That's the cheapest that cruise is ever going to be. Or be flexible with your dates. If you can avoid summer and the typical school holidays, the price of Disney cruises will be up to 2/3 cheaper on those weeks than if you go when kids are normally off school. Carnival might be a good option for you too. We haven't been on Carnival. It depends on the personality of your family. So, I mean, but they have a lot of fun things for all ages too. So I will tell you on Navigator of the Season, I was going to mention this to everybody. I saw such a range of ages. We saw everything from babies in strollers all the way to folks up in their 90s on this cruise on Navigator of the Seas. And everybody seemed to be having a really great time. So yeah, it was great. Sherry gives some good advice to Heidi. Let's see. Heidi, I will tell you, a cruise is an excellent vacation for a single parent. I've always found that to be true. It's really great if you're a single mom. I really enjoy it as a single mom. It takes a lot of pressure off you because a lot of the stuff is done for you and you just kind of show up and have fun. So it's nice and you don't have to cook. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Heidi, yes. Yes. Now, I used to, in the past, I would buy an individual travel insurance policy for each trip. But now I have an annual travel insurance policy because of how much we travel. If you travel more than twice a year, it's really worth looking into an annual travel insurance policy. I have an annual travel insurance policy through Alliance, and I pay $450 a year for that, and it includes everything, including cruise cover and COVID for the three of us. Okay. So my mom just paid the cancellation protection, which isn't really that great for Holland America for the cruise she booked. And it was almost $400. And I'm like, no, I'm like, okay, if you're looking for cruise insurance, don't buy it through the cruise line. Now that the whole COVID thing is over and they're not really doing what they were during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I did advise people to get the insurance through the cruise line. Now I don't. Go to insuremytrip.com and put in the details of your trip, including your flight and hotels before and after. If you got to get a rental car or anything like that, the whole cost of the trip. And they will give you a quote from like 4 or 5 different companies, and then you can pick the one you like best. It's going to be way cheaper than what the cruise line sells you. It's much better to buy travel insurance on your own through an independent company than it is to buy it through the cruise line. It's always going to be cheaper, and it's usually going to be better. Okay. Yeah. Very good point, Sherry. Don't go on Carnival or Norwegian if you want most things included in the price. She's right. Royal Caribbean is much more all-inclusive, and Disney is much more all-inclusive. Even though Disney's prices are higher, like even your soda is included on Disney. So I don't pay anything extra on Disney except for pictures. The only things I paid extra for on Navigator of the Seas on this last cruise was the escape room, which was $20 a person, so $60. I did pay for Wi-Fi for one day. So just the last day, I think it was. And then I got the picture package, $120 for 50 digital photos. I booked it ahead of time. It's always cheaper to book your photo package ahead of time. It can be very nice to get photos if you're a single mom, because it might be one of the only chances you get to get pictures of the three of you together. That's really nice for me. I always get the pictures. And then a few drinks here and there. None of us drink alcohol, but like soda at dinner. Megan got like a virgin strawberry daiquiri, things like that. That's all I paid for extra on our Royal Caribbean cruise. You don't need the soda package. I talked about that earlier in the stream. No, Sherry, that's not true, because we have pre-existing conditions. It depends on the policy itself. Here's the deal with pre-existing conditions. If you have pre-existing conditions, you need to, and you're booking a cruise, you need to book the travel insurance within, like, right away. The deal is, if you have pre-existing conditions, you can't book the travel insurance like 6 months after you booked the cruise. You have to book it within like 14 days or something like that. So it's a time thing. It's not that they don't cover them. It's that you have to book it right away. Okay. So yeah, no, it should cover them. It's just that you have to book it immediately after you book the cruise. You can't wait. Okay. Oh, sure. Well, no. I mean, the cruise line's going to always make you get off the ship between cruises. If that's what you mean, Cindy. I don't know if that's what you mean. But like, do you have to get off at the ports of call? No. You never have to get off at a port of call if you don't want to. But in between cruises, yes, you have to get off the ship, even if you're doing a back-to-back. Even if you're doing a back-to-back, you have to get off the ship and then get back on the ship. You can, if you arrange it far enough in advance, get your same stateroom, your same cabin and everything for a back-to-back, but you still do have to get off and get back on. That's like it's a regulatory thing, like with the government regulations and things like that. They got to make sure everybody gets off, and then they got to account for who's supposed to be on this cruise now. There are people that basically live on cruise ships. There's a couple of older people that basically live on cruise ships, and there are a couple of residential cruise ships out there that you can buy a condo, if you will, on the ship and live on it. I don't know the name of them offhand. If anybody does, leave it in the comments. So yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Did I miss any? Okay. What was I talking about before this? I think I was talking about how you could go to anything. Shoot. I don't know. Does anybody remember where I left off before I started answering questions again? Does anybody have any more questions? It's almost been an hour. And if any of you want to get to Gary's live, I don't want to cut into Gary's live, which starts at 11. So, but I will totally take more questions if more people have them. I will stay on longer if you need to. Does the season you cruise in matter? Yes and no. I mean, yes, for two reasons. One, weather, and I talked about that a little earlier in the live stream. You might want to go back if you missed that. Secondly, price. Difference, I'll tell you right now, your cheapest cruises of the year are going to be in January and September on any cruise line. January and September are your cheapest months of the year to cruise. So it's definitely true on Disney. Hurricane season is cheaper. I've cruised in hurricane season 3-4 times. I've never had a problem. We did have to go through a tropical storm one time, but the captain did his best to steer around it, and I kind of like rough season, thought it was fun. So, I mean, don't be afraid of that, but it does matter because it'll matter for weather and price. I mean, like, you know, it depends on the destination. You're going to have to research the destination you're interested in. And I mean, the Caribbean is generally nice all year round. Alaska's cruise, you know, some places the season is short and they don't cruise all year round. Alaska, it's only May through September, maybe into October a little bit. Northern Europe, you're not going to have cruises all year round. You can't go to the Norwegian fjords like all year round. The Mediterranean, the mainstream American-based cruise lines do not cruise in the Mediterranean all year round. They do a transatlantic crossing twice a year, and they only are over there in the summer. So depending on where you want to go, that's going to matter. Okay. Gary's live. Gary Benbridge, who does tips for travelers, usually does a live at 11 o'clock my time, which is right now. Hi, Gary. So he will start his live stream, and I think he has his husband Mark on today at 11. So if any of you are interested, you're not hurting my feelings if you go to watch Gary, but you can always watch Gary later, just like you can always watch this live later too. So he does a almost weekly live stream. He's done a lot of them, and where he answers questions about cruises too. So if you're interested in that, you can go check out Tips for Travelers. Gary should be starting that live right about now. So, but I will stay here if people have more questions. Okay. Disney includes a lot. Great kids club, 18 to 20 activities, all Coke products and water. Yep. Soft service ice cream machine, wonderful live theater entertainment, plus a movie theater. And the other thing I would say, thank you, Sherry, for that nice plug for Disney. I'm a huge Disney Cruise Line fan, if you're not aware, and I'm kind of committed to taking a Disney cruise at least once a year. We did do Disney Wonder in October, and we're going on Disney Dream this October. And then I'm not sure what we're doing after that. So, we're going on Disney Magic in a month. We're going on Disney Magic in a month. So stay tuned for those. Be sure you're subscribed if you're interested in Disney Cruise Line content. Disney is an experience. And thank you, William, for joining. Thank you. Thanks for joining today. Disney, I always say this is how you need to think of Disney compared to other cruise lines. Disney Cruise Line, Disney as a company is an entertainment giant. They're an entertainment company. They happen to also have a cruise line, okay? Whereas all the other cruise lines are cruise lines that happen to have entertainment on them. So the difference in the experience, the overall experience of going on Disney Cruise Line is just very different. It's the whole thing is an entertainment experience from the second you walk on board. I mean, it's just really cool. And so if you like that, you'll really enjoy Disney Cruise Line. I mean, I still have a great time on other cruises too, but it's a different experience. And I think it's worth the money. I see the value in it, but I definitely pick my dates carefully and try to avoid those really high priced weeks when, Christmas is, I'll never be able to afford to go on Disney Cruise Line at Christmas, and some of the weeks in the summer and things like that. Easter can be expensive. So yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Well, I hope I answered everybody's questions. Again, if you're watching this live stream later and you have any more questions about Navigator of the Seas, Royal Caribbean cruising from the West Coast, and again, I have all the Navigator of the Seas vlogs coming up on my channel very soon. Please be sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss any of those. I do pretty much consistently release a video on Sundays, so you can look forward to those. I have also, again, been releasing more shorts, so you can check out my shorts. And the live streams, be sure to check out the tabs. And I do consistently post at least a couple of times a week on my community tab on my channel, so make sure you check that out too. And if you liked this live stream and thought I gave you valuable information, stuff that could help you or was interesting, please be sure to give this live stream a thumbs up. Thank you for doing that. And I am planning on making this a regular thing. So after each trip or cruise, I will be doing a live stream as soon as possible after we get home to answer your questions. Now, we have been home for 2 weeks. I didn't do this live stream that first weekend after we got home because Megan was home for the weekend, and I didn't want to take away time from her being home. So, but I will do this after each trip. And again, yes, thank you to Cindy for joining. I'll probably come over there too. We do have another cruise coming up very, very soon. So look forward to that. And all the Navigator of the Seas vlogs will be coming up really soon. And then after that will be all of our Disney Magic vlogs. So again, be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. And again, if you're watching this live stream later and you have any questions about our cruise on Navigator of the Seas, leave those in the comments and I will answer those for you. Thank you everyone that was here today. I really appreciate you joining me for this live stream. And I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Have a great day and safe travels.